everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kat, and for today we might notice a blank slate on my face today. I will not be doing any makeup. I can't put any makeup on for about a week or so because I got these done. I literally yesterday got my brows microbladed, and I will be telling you guys all about that in an upcoming Get Ready With Me in case that is something that you guys are wanting to do for yourselves. I have all my thoughts on everything and I will take pictures as I go, so that way you guys know what to expect in that experience. But for today, we're going to be doing a speed review video of 4 palettes. There are 4 there. And so I figured that would be one where it's okay for me not to have my makeup on, because we're just going to be talking about the palettes and experiences that I've had with them. And I might do some swatches for you guys as well, but I can definitely tell you that I have some thoughts. This is probably my least happy speed review video that I will have done so far, because the majority of the time I have nothing but positive things to say. That is not the case today. Very little positives, actually. And so if anything, we can look at it from the positive of I'm helping to save you guys some money, hopefully. So let's just dive right in. First up, we will be talking about Klarity Kosmetics, the Magic Lamp palette. I recently had done a video where I swatched it for you guys, did a look for you, and I had promised that I would include it in this speed review video. For those of you that did not tune into that, this is what it looks like on the inside. Very beautiful color story. Comes with a little brush. Not that I ever typically use those, they just stay there. But that is something that Klarity does very, very well, is their palettes are absolutely stunning. The color stories are beautiful. They swatch beautiful. Like, let me swatch Genie for you guys just to show you what I mean. So this is one swipe with this guy. It is a duo multi-chrome. It is a little bit sheer, and so you would need to build it up, but starts off with like a lighter turquoise, goes into a deeper blue, and then some purple, a little bit of a greenish tint on there as well. So just very, very beautiful shade. However, everything swatched beautifully in this palette. And then when it came time to actually do the application to my eyes, it did not go well at all. In particular, the kind of satiny matte shades that have like the glitter in them, I will swatch Magic Carpet for you guys to show you specifically which shade gave me the most problems. And you can see the gold shiny glitter still on there, and it's a very nice pigmented looking lilac shade. However, when I actually went to try and apply it to my eyes, A, it didn't want to blend with literally any other shade, and B, essentially disintegrated into nothing, and C, is crumbling away in the pan. Like, I barely touch into there and it is just crumbling away. So that was very, very disappointing for me, because to have a shade just essentially turn into nothing, especially with how beautifully it's swatched, I was really, really disappointed in that. And it was just very inconsistent throughout. And when it came for the metallics and the shimmer shades, absolutely beautiful when swatching, absolutely beautiful on initial application. I would recommend going in with your finger instead of with a brush, or using a glitter primer or something that's an adhesive that would help it to stay on there, because if you don't use any kind of product with it and you just go in with a brush, you're not going to see anything. If you go in with your finger but there's no glitter primer underneath and you're just packing it on the way I like to do, it will look beautiful initially, but you will have to reapply every 2 seconds because it just disintegrates into nothing. And so it's like you blink once and you have to reapply to your crease because everything has already faded away. And that was the case as far as like longevity goes with both the mattes and the metallic shades. So I was really, really disappointed with this palette because it is so stunning. When you look at all of like this gold shade in here that has like a duochrome kind of feel to it, the Make-A-Wish shade is absolutely a gold to purple duochrome that was beautiful. I am so upset about how it performed. Like, it it was really upsetting. And I tried a blue look with it. I didn't even take the time to take the picture because I was so upset about it. You definitely want to apply the shadow before you do the rest of your makeup because there is definitely going to be fallout, especially lots of sparkle fallout. By the time I was done applying the rest of my face, the blue was already fading and I had to reapply, and I just at that point was so over it. And I don't really know why, because I was talking about this with one of you guys in the Magic Lamp comments section. I started off by purchasing the single shades from Klarity, and those are really good quality. Like, I would put them up there with Give Me Glow, JD Glow, like really nice quality single shadows. The shimmers are beautiful, the matte shades are really nice and pigmented, they last a long time. And so I don't know what they did to the formula to change it for the palettes versus the singles, but the singles perform so much better. So what I think I'm gonna do for you guys just to show that is I'm gonna do a video as soon as I get back from my trip, because this is the last video that we're gonna see with any kind of background on here. As soon as I get back from my business trip, I will do a video for you guys swatching and showing you the single shades that I have and doing a comparison where one eye will be done with a palette that is comparable shades to whatever I do on the single side, and then we'll see how that goes so you guys can see the difference. Because as a brand, Klarity makes really good products, and so I don't know why their palettes are so frustrating, but they are. So moving on to number 2 of the frustrating palettes. All right, so next up we have from Mel, this is the Amor y Mariposas, I believe that's how we say it. And this palette, beautiful artwork on the outside. It's a human heart with hummingbirds instead of thorns, butterflies, roses, butterflies on the back, just really beautiful. Came in this holographic gold like packaging with red velvet on the inside. I mean, super bougie. It is a heavy palette, and these are the shades on the inside. And at least no mess, which is really nice, given that I used a bunch of the shades. You can barely tell, which is nice. However, I also did not take a picture of this. I did 2 different looks with it. One I did on my sister-in-law using a whole bunch of the red shades, and very disappointing. I'll get into why in a second. I also did a green look on my eyes, and also very disappointing. I will swatch Sagrado, which is, they're like reddish metallic, that I used on my sister-in-law. And again, swatch is really nice and pigmented. It's a decent metallic. And I'll swatch Mariposa as well, which is the orange one that I used on her, and then we'll swatch a green one. And I mean, just look at how pigmented they are, right? You would think that that would somehow translate over. The green one that I'm gonna swatch for you guys is Michoacan. I need to work on my Spanish. But again, really solidly opaque. Just all of these shadows are, it's so frustrating to me. So the matte shades were very patchy. They did not want to blend at all. I had a heck of a time just trying to get them to show up and stay there. Like, the pigmentation just was not there the way that I am used to. And I know because of the level of staining that these are pressed pigments, and so I would expect from pressed pigments that there would be colorful impact on there, and there was not. And so that was incredibly disappointing to me, because then at that point, why am I putting pressed pigments on my face that are gonna stain if they don't even show the level of color initially? You just deal with the staining afterwards, I guess. So that was a little bit frustrating for me. And with the green, so they have so many deeper shades in here. Like, this whole corner over here is deeper shades. The dark green I had used, and just, they weren't nearly as deep as you would think that they were, and just didn't really want to blend together. I was so frustrated with it. I tried literally everything, and especially doing makeup on someone else. If the palette is not wanting to work, I feel horrible for the person, because it's like you were trusting me to do your makeup and the makeup wasn't wanting to cooperate. Like, it literally got so frustrating to me that I had to go and get shimmers from a different brand and lay them on top to get any kind of look going on. Like, I tried to do an inner corner glow with the tequila shade that's a like goldish shimmer. It didn't even show up. I had to, like, if I have to go and grab other palettes because the shades in this one are underperforming to that level, I will never reach for that palette again, because it's like, what's the point? I'm gonna have to lay over other shades on top of that anyway. And so I had really hoped that this one would be better, because I have not had great experiences with Melt in the past. Some of the other palettes that I have gotten have been very powdery in the palette, just kind of going everywhere, fallout all over the place, also very inconsistent and patchy. And so this color story and how beautiful the packaging was really kind of got me, and so I was like, I was gonna give it one more try. But I think for a while I'm not gonna be spending my money on Melt anymore, because it's too expensive to be spending the money on something where I'm not getting the results I want. If the palette does work for you, I would love to get your feedback in the comments down below on some of the tips that, like, if you were using specific brushes, if you were using specific primers, I would love to try and find a way to make it work. And so as of right now, for my skin and for my sister-in-law's skin, it did not work at all, and we have completely different skin types. And so if you guys have gotten this particular Melt palette and you have any thoughts on how you were able to get it to work, or if you had similar issues to what I was having, throw them in the comments down below. Either we can rant together, or you can give me tips on ways that I can try and make it work and come back and give you guys an update. Either way, I would love to get some feedback from you guys, because I was super bummed, because it's so pretty. And this box with the red velvet was just like, I was ready to keep all of it, because normally I don't keep the exterior packaging, but I was like, it's so beautiful, I'm gonna keep it. Well, I'm never gonna use the palette, so it'll for sure stay in the gold box now. But let's move on to the last brand. There's two palettes from the brand. I have from Scott Barnes, this is a blush and highlight palette. So these are the blush shades, are the 6 over on this side, and then you have 2 highlight shades on this side. And I have used the blushes quite a few times. I definitely want to say, like, for having tested them out several times, you wouldn't even know it just by looking at the palette. Like, it does not look touched at all. And as we know, I use a fairly dense flat brush to do my blush, so the fact that you can't see like hardly any divots on there is pretty nuts. I will say that the 2 shades that I was primarily using were the Mango Fizz one, and then also the Sweet Cheeks one. I think I dabbed into the Rose a tiny bit. These 2 shades would almost be more like bronzers for me, because they're very too dark for me to use them as a blush. So primarily these 4 in the middle is what I would be rocking. I also had used the Minimalist blush on my sister-in-law, and she really liked that shade. I think that they're nice blushes. They are not insanely pigmented on the first go, which is nice if you do have a heavy hand like I do, because then you can just slowly build it up as you wish. It's definitely gonna last me for forever, because again, dipping in quite a bit and you can't even tell, so I suppose that's a positive. I do like for my blushes to be a bit more pigmented on initial go, and I will also say that where you place it is kind of where it is. Like, it's difficult to move it around on your cheek. And so I would say that's almost more so the struggle that I see with like certain liquid blushes rather than powders. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But if you are willing to blend for a little while, it does blend into a beautiful blush. I don't think it's worth the cost though. I think both of the Scott Barnes palettes that I picked up are very, very expensive, and for what you're getting, I don't think, especially the blush palette, I don't think it's worth it. You can get from any indie brand out there. Like if you were to grab lethal shades that are specific, like where you can build your own face palette and pick out shades that are specific to you, you could build an 8-pan palette for the same price, if not significantly less, and be able to use all of them. Like I can't really use these 2 shades, and I wouldn't really ever use this one as a highlight, so that kind of leaves me with 5 out of the 8 pans that I would be using, where if you can build your own from another brand, it's far more worth it. I know Menagerie also has their blush palette, and Lunar Beauty, I believe, has a blush palette. There's a whole bunch of brands where you can get very similar colors to what they have in here for a whole lot less. And so I just don't think that particular one is worth the money. Now on the flip side, I also have the limited edition eyeshadow palette. This is the Mesmerize palette, and it kind of goes back and forth between a panther and a lady's eyes. And for the packaging alone, I think you're already you're paying a lot for the packaging, because when you open up the box, it is inside of its own little like silk-esque like cushion pad thing, and then you have the palette itself. And when you open that guy up, this is what you get on the inside. 8 different shades, of which 6 are different formulas for foils. And then you also have a matte black shade, and then a like satiny, because it's not quite a metallic to me, but it's like a cross between a satin and a metallic black shade as well. I do want to note that of the 6 shades that you have over here that are the foils, there are several different formulas going on here. So for instance, this guy up top here, I would classify that more as just a regular metallic, because it's also, it just doesn't have that same gleam that a foil would have. So this is the level of shine you're getting with that one. So that would actually, the way that I primarily used that shade was to help smoke out the outer corner rather than just going in with the satin black shade. I would use the matte black shade just to smoke out the corner ever so slightly, and then I used this shade to kind of pull forward a little bit more light, and then I transitioned into this medium shade, and then would use this guy as the inner corner, which I really, really enjoyed. And so I would say kind of this one right here and this guy perform more like a standard metallic. This one also mostly as a standard metallic. You're getting into the foils with the gold shade, but then I would say that this lighter silver and this one that's almost kind of cross between champagne and silver, those two are absolutely foils. And so I will show you the difference. So this is that top kind of champagne silver shade, and you can just see the level of shine on that, where it's a true foil versus more of a metallic for the deeper shades. I really, really enjoyed them. I think the quality of the eyeshadows in this palette is definitely there. So it's not like if you spend the money that you're not gonna get a good quality palette. Because if you are wanting, like for the holidays especially, I used this palette for like, here's the main look that I did with it, but I used it like 3 or 4 different ways, where some of them were a little more on the neutral side, others were huge pops of color. If you're just wanting a little bit of a foil to be added onto any kind of look, you're gonna get that with all 6 of those shades. And so I really, really enjoyed this palette. I definitely think I will be dipping into this, and so I am not upset that I spent the money. However, I do think if you were looking for foil shades, you can get foil shades from other brands for a lot less. And so I think primarily the cost that you are paying for on this is for just the very extravagant packaging that you get with this one. But I definitely think that out of the 2 palettes, I could probably definitely have done without the blush and highlight palette. This guy, I'm not upset that I picked it up. It is very, very expensive, being over $100, and so I'm really glad that, I mean, it's like Pat McGrath level of expensive, but you are getting a really, really nice product, and so I'm not upset about this one at all. It worked out really great for me. So I would love to know what your guys' thoughts are on everything though. Which of these palettes have you guys picked up, if any? Did you have similar results to what I had, or did you have better results or worse results? I would love to know either way. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you did not. Let me know as we always do. And if you made it to the end of the video and you have not yet subscribed, I would love it if you would subscribe. Come join my family here. We talk a ton about indie brands, colorful makeup, usually blank face is not normal. We do lots of swatches all the time, and if that sounds like fun, I would love for you to join my family here. And other than that, you guys just go have a good one, and Happy New Year. the one time where we get to see my little Happy New Year hat. But other than that, you guys just go have a good one.